Next step is to complete the square. We are going to create perfect square trinomials. We have to figure out what C term would be missing so that I would have a perfect square trinomial. This can be done in 3 steps. Step 1, take half of B. So when I look at this first example, half of B is -6. You can, but you do not have to take the sign in front of B, but you definitely may. Step 2, take the answer from step 1 and square it. So step 2, take the answer from step 1 and square it. Okay, step 3, the answer from step 2 is C. So I would have x squared minus 12x plus 36. Well, let's give it a test. Is that a perfect square? Yes. Is that a perfect square? Yes. 2 times the square root of the A term times the square root of the C term. 2 times 1 times 6. Wow, marvelous. Way to go. We have a perfect square trinomial. When it comes time to factoring it soon, we would take the square root of the A term, the square root of the C term, and the sign in front of B, and we're done. Let's do another one. Following the 3 steps, step number 1, take half of B, so half, whoops, that's the answer. Got a little ahead of myself. Half of B is 5. Step 2, square your answer from step 1, so I would get 25. Step 3, your answer from step 2 is your C, so I would have x squared plus 10x equals, or plus 25. Now I can factor this really quickly. Perfect square, 2 times the square root of the A term times the square root of the C term. Definitely. Factored form would be x plus sign in front of B, the square root of the C term. Okay, let's look at this one over here. Ooh, gross, but it will be okay. The reason I kind of say gross is I have an odd number here. When I take half of an odd number, I get kind of a weird answer. So I'm going to leave it just for a moment as a fraction. Alrighty. Step 2, square my answer from step 1. So I would end with 81 over 4. We had some of those type of fractions in our last unit, and that becomes my C term. So I would have x squared minus 9x plus 81 over 4. Marvelous. When I ask you to give me factored form, square root of the first term, ooh, square root of this. That's why I kind of left it, because we were going to need to do this anyways. So I would get 9/2 again. Sign in front of B is negative. That would be my factored form of my perfect square trinomial. I would like you to do the next 2 problems right here by yourself. Pause the video. We'll compare answers. Please pause the video. Thank you for pausing the video. Take a moment, compare your answers to mine. I tried to show all my same work. I took half of the B term, I squared my answer from number 1, and I put it into the trinomial. And then I gave you factored form.